Elden Ring is a game of love. This love is showcased in many ways, and how people act on this love is very important in the game. Nefeli Lu is a warrior who acts out of love for her father and a desire to do the right thing. Raya loves her mother very much, and she is infatuated with the stories told to her about her father being a glorious king. Mesmer fights an endless war in the realm of shadows for the love of his mother. Godfrey loves his son. Melania loves Mikola, and Mikola once loved Saint Trina. Elden Ring is also a game of loss. In the base game, 36 NPCs have quest lines, and 22 of them die if the player reaches the end of their quest line or makes the wrong choices. That is 61% of NPCs in Elden Ring's base game. While 22 die, 6 NPCs are considered to have a fate worse than death, with a whopping 16% of them out of all the NPCs in the base game. Combine the numbers, and that would mean that 78% of Elden Ring's NPCs die or end up in the worst situation possible. The DLC numbers are worse, as out of the 14 NPCs with quest lines, 13 of them all die, while one lives to be your spirit summon. That is 93% of the DLC's NPCs. Out of all the NPCs in Elden Ring, one stands out as the one who does not die, despite also being a boss battle. We are talking about Rennala, the Queen of the Full Moon. Despite Rennala being considered one of the easier and weaker bosses in the game, as well as sometimes arguably a bad boss fight due to her first phase gimmick, she is one of the most undermined characters in the entire game. As despite being a very powerful being in Elden Ring, she suffers from very human problems, such as love and loss. So while all the other NPCs love and die in various fashions, it is the death of others that plagues her blissfully ignorant and almost unbiased love. A love that extends from the red-haired Radagon to her children. It is only the deterioration of these dynamics that makes Rennala's love twist and grow dark. But this is not entirely her fault, nor is she even aware of it at all. To discuss Rennala is to discuss her role as a mother. Rennala is the mother of 3 known children: Ranni the Carian Princess, Praetor Rykard, and General Radahn. While all 3 have gone very separate ways from their mother's path, they all show signs that they have indeed come from her in one way or another. All 3 share her magical prowess, and despite Rennala specializing in Carian magic, Ranni specializes in cold magic, Praetor Rykard uses magma sorceries, and General Radahn uses gravity magic. They have all excelled in those schools of magic more than most in the world of Elden Ring, most likely due to their Carian heritage from Rennala. Being a mother is one of Rennala's most important roles, as it is even a mechanic in the game, using the amber egg to help the tarnished be born anew, as she did with the other scholars, albeit imperfectly. Even with the state Rennala is in now compared to how she was described in the past, she continues to act as a mother. This role's importance also stems from the fact that she holds the rune of the unborn, which allows Rennala to create life endlessly, as a mother does. It is also important to note what happens to Rennala's children, those born of Radagon. When one understands what happens to them, one can understand why Rennala is not the Carian queen that the Academy expected her to be. Praetor Rykard gets eaten by a god-devouring serpent, creates a league of tarnished that are against the Golden Order, and consumes those so that they can become a part of the serpent. Rani, the Carian princess, is seemingly killed during the Night of the Black Knives. Moreover, Radon fights Millennia, loses, and is cursed to die of scarlet rot or be killed in an unceremonious battle. All her children, in her eyes, would have been dead or very close to it. Moreover, while there is no information stating that Rennala even knows of any of it, those events still reinforce Rennala's isolation and deepen the mental fractures that twist her role as a mother. It is because of their absence that she is in this state, and perhaps it is her absence from their own lives that they are living in their own dark fates. Whether it is because of Radagon's departure or her children's fates, this loss affects Rennala deeply, and the desire to feel it twists her into turning the Academy scholars into young, juvenile scholars who seem to be unable to walk, let alone crawl. She creates the juvenile scholars from the amber egg, and in turn, they now need her to survive because without the great rune of the unborn, they will die, and they cannot do a single thing about it. Once the Tarnish defeats Rennala, this is exactly what happens.
Where did ye flee, my sweetings? Come out from whence ye hide. There are books and light aplenty. Dither not. Come out, say I, or will ye be gravestones, to be better born anew?
This statement showcases the type of mental detachment Rennala is suffering from, as all of her sweetings are dead. It is the player's fault, and yet she truly does not have a care in the world. This sort of detachment is very reminiscent of a trope in contemporary and even older literature written by women, in which the female character is not quite right with herself or the world around her, even as the world continues to move on without her. One example of this is the main protagonist in Charlotte Gilman's Yellow Wallpaper, where she is forced to stay inside of a room with yellow wallpaper and is told to detach herself from her condition, most likely postpartum depression, but perceived as hysteria. In another story, Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, the main protagonist's cousin, Catalina, seems detached from everything around her, from the house's dark environment to the darker energy that lurks within the family that owns it. Moreover, The Awakening by Kate Chopin, in which the main protagonist, Edna Pontellier, detaches from the world of motherhood and wifehood and begins to embrace some of the individual freedoms she is granted. Though all these characters' fates are different, the Yellow Wallpaper woman goes crazy, Catalina escapes from the House of Horrors after killing her captors, and Edna Pontellier drowns, they are all the same in relation to Rennala in the sense that they were all women who had strength in one aspect or another and lost it. And even though all three of the characters continue to hold strong resolve throughout their stories, it is Rennala's resolve that just never seems to be found. When Rennala, head of both the Academy of Raya Lucaria and the Carian royal family, lost her husband Radagon, her heart went along with him, and then those at the Academy realized that Rennala was no champion after all. Radagon and Rennala had 3 known children, and possibly more. Given the dead demigods in the walking mausoleums, that is some proof that maybe some of those demigods belonged to the couple. This quote from Rennala's crescent crown shows that Rennala loved Radagon, and that it was this love she had lost, replaced by an amber egg, that grants her the ability to continue creating life, even in a very twisted way. As you can see here, this is Rennala with the amber egg, and she looks like she's in a trance of some sort. Rani basically confirms this by saying that Rennala's sleep will not be disturbed. I imagine it is a sleep caused by the amber egg. Notice how the illusion of prime Rennala is locked in, unlike amber egg Rennala. Only cares for the egg and is crawling towards it, not crawling away from the tarnished. It showcases the contrast between amber egg Rennala and the prime Rennala illusion. Amber Egg Rennala is literally crawling for an egg, while Prime Rennala thinks of her daughter, Ronnie, after her defeat.
Oh, little Rani, my dear daughter.
Octavia Butler's Bloodchild is a pretty dark story. I wouldn't recommend reading it if you have a faint heart. But what one should focus on are the eggs used in the story, in which, to simplify, the aliens use to make humans more relaxed, calm, and blissful. There's an interesting relation when comparing the Amber Egg with these eggs and Bloodchild, because it appears as if perhaps the Amber Egg, a gift from Radagon before the divorce, may have been given to Rennala not only for her being able to create life after Radagon leaves her, but also to keep her in a state of relaxation and bliss, to allow her to detach from the grief of her loss of Radagon. When I was a child, my father would take my brother and me to see our grandfather at his house. My grandfather and father would talk for hours and hours as they stood in the open garage, smoking their cigars. Then my grandfather suddenly disappeared. Long after my grandmother had passed away, and way long after I graduated from high school. It was not even like a year ago when my father found my grandfather. He was apparently going from homeless shelter to homeless shelter, wandering from place to place until he was somehow put into a hospital, then immediately put into hospice care. I did not know much about my grandfather, only that he was in the military and then the police force. So when I was invited by my father to visit him for the first time after so long in hospice, I took the chance. When I stood there over him, he was very still. The TV against the wall was on, and the nurse told us that he gets upset if the TV is off. When he does like stir, he moves so very little. And even when my father talks to him, there's no response. I stood there looking at him, or maybe even around him. I couldn't even bother to look at him because I was scared. And I just felt like hours. About a week or two later, my grandfather passed away. And I wonder what his moments could have been in those weeks. What was he thinking? Maybe about his son or his grandsons? What if he wasn't thinking anything at all? Was he capable of that? I don't know. I wish I did. In many ways, this moment reminds me of Rennala, a mother who is living her final moments in a similar isolation. Her mind is elsewhere while her body is here. The tarnished finds her in a state of sad ruin, endlessly cradling the fragile remains of the love of being a mother to her children. Rennala, once a powerful character who went toe to toe with the Golden Order itself, was a symbol of strength and defiance. However, the loss of Radagon, and definitely the loss of her children too, transformed her into someone who is undermined by her own people, detached from the world around her, and seemingly forgotten and even hated by others in the academy. One could not help but ask, what is she thinking when she crawls to that amber egg? And I hope that she was thinking of Ronnie and her two sons in those lucid moments. Thank you guys for watching. This video was actually I think almost a year in the making. So when I said that my grandfather had passed away like not even a year ago, I think it has been a year now since that happened, and I just never really got a chance to making this video. But I hope you enjoyed it. I put a lot more effort into it, and I just really hope you appreciate it. In other news, my cousin was recently shot in the back and paralyzed. I have a GoFundMe in her description, in my description, not hers. She doesn't have a YouTube channel or anything. And if you want to go check out the link, share it around, or do whatever you wish to do with it, I would appreciate that a lot. But either way, I appreciate you for seeing this video. Like if you want to, dislike if you want to, and subscribe if you want to. Peace.